According to War News, in 2015, the ex-former president of the United States of America, Barack Obama, said that global warming was the biggest threat facing the world today, warning that this was the first generations to feel the impact of climate change and the last generation that can do something about it. However, a response to this statement came from the winner of Nobel Prize in Physics, Dr. Ivar Giver, a physicist who proved the hoax of global warming, saying that nowadays it is an illusion.
The biggest problem Obama faces is climate change? How can he say that? And I say this to Obama, excuse me, Mr. President, but you're wrong.
In the meantime, here in Brazil, the professor of the Geography Department from University of São Paulo, Ricardo Augusto Felício, also believes that global warming is a huge lie. Ricardo studies Antarctic climatology, and 20 years researching about this field made him conclude that there is no proof that man made any global climate change. In an interview given by the Brazilian online magazine Verdade Mundial, he explains that only in the last century did temperature rise and fall twice. This is part of the climate variability, and there is nothing wrong. Showing this melting is no proof of global warming, otherwise showing this freezing would be evidence of global cooling. The Federal University of Paraná PhD and Associate Research of the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural Science, Daniel Moura, can explain the global warming, truth or not, how it can affect the life of the planet and consequently our own.
Global warming is basically let's just say it's basically elevation of the global temperature. It's an effect of the concentration of gases in our atmosphere, and that subsequently raises the temperature of the planet as a whole. It's not a bad thing or a good thing. Our planet passes through normal cycles of global warmth and ice ages, so it's a common process for our planet to go through periods of time where we have elevated temperature.
But who would be really benefit from these allegations that global warming is false? According to Mona Pereira, historian former by the Federal University of Paraná, it is possible to analyze the world scenario where the ones who really benefit from the climate issues are not the ones who have supposed invented it, but the ones who are able to adapt it.
Of course, this is something quite convenient. If you think about the rich countries and the most industrialized countries that pollute the most, they could give to other countries the responsibility of reducing climate changes, whereas they could do that as well. So it's something that's a bit dubious, right? Which means, of course, they have the power to enforce those things, so they will ask other people to do something that they should do themselves. But when we talk about a lie or a big conspiracy, what we are doing is that we are putting a big weight on the actions of those countries or industries or whatever, as if they had invented the thing themselves, as like a very manipulative sort of situation in which they could benefit. Most of the times, people that benefit from some situations not necessarily invented them, but they reacted to them accordingly. So, of course, who would benefit from such circumstance? We have people that have power in the world scenario, yes we do, but we have multiple forces. It's so hard to believe that one of those forces could have the power to change everything. So what happens is that these people can benefit from this situation, yes. Global warming is something that maybe can be overrated and maybe it does have a relation with natural processes, yes. But there was a certain social pressure regarding global warming, and for people, which means industries and governments, of course, to take action against it. So from the moment that this pressure exists, of course, people are gonna try to benefit from it. Industries are gonna try to benefit from it, because it could be harmful to industries. because it does change the way they produce, and that could be harmful. So they turn this to their advantage. The same the countries will do, because it was bad for them. They would have to control their emissions. But now they don't need to worry that much, because they will reinforce this to the whole world. They can control a little and everyone can control a lot. So they find ways to benefit from a situation that not necessarily was created by them. It was a sense of opportunity, I think.
In June of 2017, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, announced that he would be pulling the U.S. out of the Paris Agreement on climate change. One of the justifications by Trump was that it might cause a negative economic impact on U.S. Through his campaign during the 2016 elections, Trump blames China of invented global warming. Jian Yu-suk, Master of Environmental Analysis by the Federal University of Paraná, concludes that the main cause of this guilt is no less than the pure profit itself.
We have right now a competition in terms of economic supremacy between the United States and China. And I think that because China has a bigger population, of course it will overcome the United States. So it's hard for the Americans to accept that another country is going to be more powerful than them in the future. So they are trying to create every kind of situation to improve themselves. For example, fight the global warming demand investment. You need to develop new technologies to reduce your emissions. And if you are putting money in this research, it means that you are profiting less. So I think that there is a lot of pressure about big companies in the United States over Donald Trump, like, man, let's not believe on that, let's avoid all these costs, because if we can avoid these costs, we can improve other kind of stuff and you can compete in a better way with China. If people have fear that the global warming is going to cause a lot of destruction in the future, and even with all this fear, we are still destroying the planet, burning forests, burning fossil fuels and so on. Imagine if someone, United Nations for example, came and said, well, there is no global warming, so we can do whatever we want. Try to imagine, if with all this speech we are still destroying the planet, if we doesn't have this speech anymore to hold us, I think people will pretty much screw with the rest of the environment that we still have left. Why am I going to spend more money, increase my costs, if there is no point in that? So I'm going to choose to profit more. This is capitalism. We live in this system. Welcome to this.
After all these statements of the previous people and world news, global warming is something that we still need to care for, even if it's only an illusion. Nevertheless, we may never underestimate the power of nations, companies and their imperium, just because they seem to have a collective conscience and actions in the name of the planet.